So I was having this idea that perhaps New York could sub for Chapter 5. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, maybe. But then there are people in the shot. I'd have to wait until like 4 o'clock in the morning to shoot this stuff. Amelia Stories, Chapter 5, Section 1. Yeah, not too modern. Not. Bye-bye, New York. Nice chatting with you. So I'm heading southwest, back to the Appalachian Mountains. On the way here, I've mentioned this several times, on the way north, I came across a few abandoned towns that I was like, wow, that would be really great for Chapter 5. So I'm heading back in that direction. So while I'm heading back in that direction, I'm also doing the research into Appalachian towns or mining towns that might serve in case I need to, at the last minute, change my mind. And I'm looking for a whole bunch of abandoned towns. I know the visual that I have in my mind. And I'm looking for these essentially abandoned towns. And I came across this reference to Centralia. Now, Centralia is unique for a whole bunch of different reasons, but it led me down a rabbit hole to this really great image, and was like, oh my God, that would be so amazing if I could shoot there. That would totally, oh my God, that would just be fabulous. Oy. So let me backtrack a little bit. Centralia is in Pennsylvania, and for almost 100 years, it was a thriving mining town in Appalachia. And then in 1962, some knucklehead essentially started what would become a mine fire. The town tried to put it out, and that made it even worse. And over the next 20 years, people, came up with all manner of solutions to put the mine fire out, and that just made it worse. So much so that there were toxic gases coming out of the ground, as you would imagine, burning coal, duh. The government eventually stepped in and condemned the town, gave, people a whole bunch of money and incentive to leave, and a few decided to stay on. And when they stayed on, it was this huge legal battle. Those 5 people eventually settled with the government in 2020 that they can't give their land over to any descendants, that when those 5 people die, that's it, they're gone. The zip code of Centralia is no more. The government killed it in, I think, about 5 years ago. And part of the reason I'm telling you this story is because of this image. This is Pennsylvania Route 61. And this is known as the Graffiti Highway. And up until a few years ago, it was the bee's knees. And I looked at that image and I was like, oh my God, that would be absolutely fabulous to shoot Chapter 5 with that as the background. Yeah. Notice the past tense I'm using here. Would have been. So what happened was PA Route 61 is currently on private lands, and to prevent people from possibly hurting themselves, and more importantly liability, the current landowner decided that they would cover up Graffiti Road, and it now looks like this. So not so much with that idea. So I will keep looking for a really great backdrop for shooting Chapter 5. That said, today's story. Story time. It's a real story. It actually happened. Once upon a time, I played high school football. Now, what is unique about this story are several factors, and they all come into play. No pun intended. All right, factor number 1 is I was playing football because my brother had played football 10 years earlier and became a football star. Now, mind you, I liked football. I just didn't want to get hit. Which brings us to factor number 2. I did not want the ball at all in any way, shape, or form. If it was thrown anywhere near me, I would just look the other way. Not true, but I was just definitely afraid of getting hit because it was going to hurt. Factor number 3. My best friend, Tom Bird, whose brother was my brother's best friend, Harold Bird, because they both played on this winning team. They went a 10-0 season in 1974. So my brother played a running back. My brother's position was running back. Harold's position was halfback. And I was not fast enough to be a running back, so they made me a tight end. So that's factor number 3 or 4. Factor number 3 is I was a tight end. All right, factor number 4 is I was in the best shape of my life after about 3 weeks. 4 weeks, actually. So now we get into the story. All right. So we go to football camp, the worst experience I've ever had in my life. And I hated every last second of it. But we come back from football camp, and miraculously I make the team. No, still don't know how that happened. I think I was, like a legacy hire, so I made the team. And my best friend, Tom Bird, made the team. So that season, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob Payne, was the quarterback that season. So that season, our first game was against Bourne. And we stepped out onto the field, and it was a little overcast like it is now. And we were there for maybe like 5-10 seconds, and it just opened up sheets of rain. Just sheets of rain. So the first play, he throws it to me. And I dropped the ball. I caught it, and I dropped it. Now, some would argue that I dropped the ball simply because I didn't want to get hurt. The reality was I dropped the ball because my hands were wet. And I didn't have enough stickum on them. All right. So, that's the beginning of the story. The end of the story is I pretty much made myself inconspicuous the rest of the season. I maybe played a couple of games, but that was about it, because at that point in time they just didn't trust me, and I don't blame them at all. Yeah, not cool. Anyways, so where was I? Right, okay. So the end of the season comes, and we're the end game of the season is Barnstable. And it's a beautiful November day. Absolutely gorgeous. Warm. I'm not freezing at all in any way, shape, or form. It's a great day. So it's our kickoff to their reception. And I'm on special teams on the kickoff team. So I'm not exactly certain how this happened, because I don't remember it. I had other people tell me what happened. So we kick the ball, and I just start booking it to the end of the field to get to the guy who's got the ball, and I just then slam into him. Again, I don't remember this. What I heard from my coaches and several people that were in the stands was that I was ahead of everybody else, and I slammed into this guy so hard that he dropped the ball, and it went back 3 or 4 yards, and I landed on top of it. I don't remember any of it. Not one iota. I stepped off the field and went, what happened? And everybody's, they're all yelling at me. I'm like, did I screw up? So, I may have, I honestly, I don't remember. I don't recall a damn thing. Anyways, that's my little high school football story. And the whole reason I'm telling you this is because I was out here a little while ago and I saw these kids getting back from football camp, and I'm thinking to myself, I did that.